Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi barakatuh. So, this brother, he don't want to be referred to as an imam, but I'm going to refer to him as an imam. He sent me a video that was somewhat disturbing. It didn't really disturb me much because I'm used to these type of Muslims. And he kind of asked me for some advice on how to deal with Muslims like this because he's fairly new to the masjid where he's being the khatib. I'm going to say the imam. We do classes and different things, right? But he's having difficulty with the mindset of some of the Muslims. So he sent me a video, and I'm going to let y'all hear some of it. And this is some of the stuff that I've been warning about that was to come. And he wanted me to do a short conversation and kind of advise. So I'm going to let y'all hear this. Listen to this right here.
Rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Look, I'm not finna go back and forth with y'all. You understand what I'm saying? Like, y'all wanna try to poke holes in my Islam, right? Y'all wanna try to poke holes in my Islam. And it's obvious I'm a sinner. It's obvious, right? But for all you brothers and sisters who come and trying to poke holes in my Islam, you obviously need to go back and study the deen. Yeah, you obviously are not the people of Hadith. You obviously don't understand this deen. You obviously are not understanding of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's going to be some, didn't the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam state that there's going to be some men who did not do no good deeds? They will have no good deeds. Nothing other than La ilaha illallah. And Allah will admit them into the Jannah. That they will not touch the fire. I believe I'm one of those men.
Okay. So basically, as y'all heard, the brother was saying how, basically he's doing a lot of little different videos and trying to talk about Islam. And I guess to my understanding, he in the club, he in studios, he's the opposite of what Islam say you should be. So, people try to give him advice. They try to do what Islam tell you to do when you see another Muslim under this condition. So, what he says is, as y'all heard him, obviously I'm a sinner. And I'm not going to allow y'all to keep poking holes in my Islam because y'all not the people of Hadith. Obviously, y'all not the people of Hadith. Now listen to this. He's saying they not the people of Hadith because they're trying to correct his behavior, which is something that the people of Hadith would do. He's saying they need to go learn their religion because they don't understand Allah's mercy. Okay? And that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there will be men that have no good deeds at all. Okay. There will be men that have no good deeds at all, and they're going to go to Jannah because they have the Shahada, La ilaha illallah, right? And they'll never touch the hellfire. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, first and foremost, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam never said that. Okay? this is him misinterpreting something he may think he read or something somebody he heard say. But this is clearly a misconception. Shaitan is playing with the brother mind. Okay? And then he also says in the comment that Allah said that the sinners, because they was basically trying to say broadcasting the sins, like Allah will forgive the Muslims as long as they try to, keep their sins private, not broadcast their sins. Like, brother, you broadcast your sins. So he says, Allah said that the sinners will be showed up. Like, the sinners are going to be on display like it's a good thing. Like this, I'm what Allah said. But anyway, he said that he feel like he's one of those men. Okay? That he's not going to go to the hellfire. Alright? He's perfectly fine. He's perfectly safe. And he's going to go to Jannah. He said he believes he's one of those people. So, it's not really about the brother, but like I said, this type of Muslim right here, I'm used to. I'm used to this conversation. I'm used to this talk. I even did a video probably about a year ago about how people treat, because they confess the Shahada, like people who feel like they've been baptized or like I'm saved. I believe Jesus is my Savior, so I won't be held accountable for none of my wrongdoing. Some Muslims feel that way because they took their Shahada. Or they feel like they only going to be in hell for a number of days. Okay. And like I said, I have an idea of a couple of hadiths that he may be twisting up and misinterpreting. But what he's saying, nah, the Rasul didn't say that. May Allah guide the brother to what's correct. And like I said, it really isn't about him, but this is going to grow. This is going to get worse. And I'm not going to say a particular group because I don't want to ruffle no feathers unintentionally. But you can have real students, real teachers teaching a haq, and thousands of people benefiting from them, and even thousands more could benefit from them. But they have put out a whole campaign for people not to listen to these people, because these people is, we won't go into that. But when it's people like this out here spreading this type of stuff, where are they? Where are they? Where are they to say, don't listen to this guy? Where are they at when it's time to say, don't listen to these type of people? It's almost like something not right about it. Kind of government agency-ish. But, so for the brother, man, because he's dealing with a lot of Muslims like this at his masjid. So, I'm going to advise with this, and I'm going to read a Quran ayat. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to give it to you in a couple of ways so that it can be absorbed. And it was a time in my life, maybe around 2011, 2012, right? maybe even 2010, between 2010 and 2012, when I started to see this type of Muslim emerge, I didn't know how to deal with it. So I started reading the biographies, starting with Abu Bakr. Because Abu Bakr, outside of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was the first one that had to deal with the Muslims starting to change. What they referred to them as apostate wars. So I had to read the biographies, man, of Abu Bakr, and the ones who came after them, to see how they dealt with it. And really dig into my Quran. So before I go into the Quran, I want to say this. Some people think saying the Shahada, La ilaha illallah, right, is a statement of the tongue. So because you said it on your tongue, that means you have it. A lot of people don't understand, with your 5 pillars, everything can be negated. Okay? Your salat can be negated. Okay? Example, let's say you don't make wudu. Okay? And you make salat. Well, now I ain't gonna invalidate it. Your salat is invalidated. Let's say you make your salat other than the instructions from Quran and the Sunnah. It's invalidated. Let's say you fast in a way and say, I'm going to eat during the daytime and fast all night. It's invalid. All right? Let's say you want to pay zakat any type of way, but it's less than a percentage that's required. You're invalidating your zakat. You want to make Hajj or Umrah, and you want to go to Hajj when it's not Hajj time. You want to come up with your own ritual. It can be invalidated. So I'm saying all that to say, your Shahada can be invalidated. So, I'm going to be careful with my words, because But it's a strong possibility that this brother's Shahada has been invalidated, nullified. Not to say he don't believe that Islam is the truth, but it's more than just a statement on the tongue. This is something that you have to live, your Shahada. So some people thinking because they said the Shahada that they fall in the categories of the people who held on to their Shahada, that lived it in actions and speech. But unfortunately, man, that's just one of the tricks of the shaitan. Okay? So for the brother, man, I'm going to give you a couple of Quran ayats, man, to show you, to kind of break down how you're going to have to deal with it. And then I'm going to show you where the Rasul in the Quran, where Allah Azza wa Jal is telling him about the type of people that's around him. It's so beautiful. Once you really learn how to read your Quran and let it come to you and truly understand it, man, Allah Azza wa Jal was putting the Rasul on so much game, and that we need to learn how to take it from there without twisting it. So, one, in the Quran, Allah makes it extremely clear to us that if someone is not guided, if somebody is choosing misguidance, choosing disobedience to Allah Azza wa Jal over guidance and obedience to Allah Azza wa Jal, there's no one, there's nothing that can guide them except for Allah. So in reality, there's nothing you could do. Allah tells us that in the Quran. Nobody can guide individuals that's like this. These is individuals that's choosing misguidance. And they're choosing disobedience. And then they're never going to change because they think they're good. He's already been the judge and the juror of himself. I believe I'm one of those men. I'm going to get Jannah even though I have no good deeds. Because I held my finger up and said, La ilaha illallah. He done already judged himself. And when you understand the Quran and you see individuals who gave themselves Jannah or gave themselves certain accomplishments and all that type of stuff that wasn't worthy of it, that only Allah can decide, it didn't work out for them. So you just have to continue to give da'wah. That's all you could do. And continue to make dua. That's all you could do. And try to fall in line with the hadith where it talk about good companionship and bad companionship. Okay? And this is something that individuals need to hold on to. A good companion, like it says, is one that's like who sells fragrances. Right? Good scented oils. And being a friend with him or her, you get the benefit of, if they have extra oils or they could spare some oils, they'll give you some good fragrances. You may get first dibs. They may have an order coming in and they may have a new fragrance and might put you on. I got something new. You can come get some before anybody else. You might get a discount. There's numerous benefits. And some of the least amount of benefit is that when you're around them and you shake their hand or you may hug them, some of the scent from them will get on you. You may be able to come over to where they live, and you may be able to see, like, they may have a few oils on their shelf and they may be able to grab one. You may be able to grab one and throw a little on you. So basically, a good companion, some of their good can rub off on you. So just try to continue to be a good example. Try not to be harsh. And just continue to be the best Muslim that you could be. And then a bad companion is when they're around, they like a person who works in, I'm going to bring it to a modern time type thing, like a manure factory where they make fertilizer from animal feces. So this individual, when you're around them, you're going to be smelling animal feces all the time. And when they shake your hand or they hug you, you get some of the scent of animal feces on you. Okay? Some of their fitna, what they always into, you're going to have to deal with it too. Like some of that is going to rub off on you. That's bad companionship. So this brother, and when I looked at the comments, it was so many Muslims agreeing with him, saying Allahu Akbar, and possibly some of his friends. He actually influenced people. This is bad companionship because some of that foolishness is going to rub off on possibly some good people. So you want to continue to be like the person who sells good fragrances, man, where your good can hopefully rub off on the Muslims that's like that, man, because they're not choosing guidance. Okay, so if they on this way, Allah says that He gonna allow people to choose that path and allow them to stay on it, man, until they get burnt in the hellfire. Okay? There's nothing you could do but make dua and continue to be good companionship, but be genuine and sincere, and to continue to make dua for Muslims like this, especially being that you doing the khutbahs and you teaching the little classes and you trying to talk to brothers, after prayer and things like that. Secondly, Allah informs us in the Quran, you have to save yourself first. You got to save yourself first, then work on trying to save your family. Like I was saying in a video before, and although it was a specific situation, someone, kind of found fault with it. I guess it kind of applied to them too, where it was a particular brother who wanted to get out in the community and try to save everybody in the community, and felt like all these people looked up to him, but his wife was extremely negligent. She didn't know how to pray. She was still reciting the little she knew. She was saying in English. And when I'm telling him, man, don't nobody want to read, don't nobody want to study, but your wife do, brother. Allah Azza wa Jal inform us, save yourself first, then your family. Don't skip your family trying to go to everybody else first. So I continue to save yourself from the fire, save your family from the fire, and then the ones who come for the help and they accept the guidance, they'll come to you, brother. You see what I'm saying? Because this brother is clearly making up his own Islam, and it's not him specifically, like you saying. You dealing with the exact same mentality and mindset in the masjid. I've been seeing this mentality and mindset with many Muslims for a very long time, male and female. And that's why I be trying to advise people about when you interact with these type of Muslims, especially when it comes to marriage. Just like the brother in the comments was saying, that his wife, he basically got to give her $500 a month, man, to see her once a week. I'm not laughing at his situation, and may Allah Azza wa Jal protect me from that, but you just have some people who's up to no good, male or female. And like I say, you got to look at their foundations. They could be a Muslim just like him. I'm Muslim. I did the hard part. I took my Shahada. I believe in Allah, and I believe that Prophet Muhammad is the last prophet and messenger. I'm fine. I don't have to pray. I don't have to fast. If I feel like praying, I will. If I don't, I won't. If I feel like fasting, I will. If I don't, I won't. If I feel like reading Quran, like whatever, I'm fine because I'm Muslim. There's a lot of Muslims who have mindsets like this brother, man. That shaitan is playing with their head, man. So you have to be careful. And if you find yourself in a marriage with a brother like this or a sister like this, you have to understand what you in a marriage for. It don't mean you don't love a person, but you got to stay on the Islamic side. I'm doing this fi sabilillah first, then for myself second, and then if the marriage feels one-sided, it's still at alhamdulillah, because your reward comes from Allah. Our reward comes from Allah, and our punishment comes from Allah. So you always want to try to be on the reward side of things, man. And this is, unfortunately, man, this type of thing is going to grow. These type of Muslims is going to become the norm. Especially when, like I say, I'm not going to say I had a one-up, but like I say, as a youth, Islam came with the gang that I joined. So right now, what you're starting to see is Islam come with streets. It's part of being a cool street person. Being Muslim is part of being a cool street person. And you know, you have your Muslim entertainer influencers, and they push this type of mindset. He's one of them. He do music, he be in studios. They push that. Your Dirks, your Kevin Gates, your Rollos, your Tone Trumps and them, and so on. And I'm not trying to single them out or point, particular fingers at them, but people are imitating their behavior. And it's just unfortunate, man. They think this type of Islam is okay. I don't need any good deeds. So we know in Islam, and before I'm finna touch these Quran ayats, this is the other thing that we know from the Deen. From the Quran. So everything I'm quoting is from the Quran, even if I touch the hadith that goes with the ayat. Allah Azza wa Jal informs us in the Quran that Allah doesn't change the condition of a people until they start to change those conditions for themselves. Individuals like that, they're not trying to change their condition. So you can't help them. Now when you look at the ayat, this ayat goes both ways, but in the general meaning in the Quran is from like, if you in a good state, it won't change to the bad state until you start to change it. Let's say, for instance, you healthy. Now we gonna say, let's say, for instance, you really on your deen. If you start slipping in your deen and you start falling off your deen, it's because you started to change that condition. You stopped doing what it takes to be on your deen. So you change the condition of yourself. And Allah will allow it to change to the bad because you're choosing it. So on the flip side though, it also applies to, let's say you're off your deen and then you want to get on your deen, so you start doing the things so that you could be on your deen, then Allah allow you to change that condition. Allah don't change the condition of a people until they start to change it for themselves. If you out of shape, you want to get in shape, it's not going to happen if you don't start exercising. Right? If you in shape, you're not going to go to the condition of being out of shape unless you change the condition and stop handling your business. Individuals who think like this, man, where Shaitan is just got them wrapped up in a ball and they so confused, they don't even know to try to change their condition. They don't want to change it. I'm fine. I don't need no good deeds at all. I don't even have to try. But because I held my finger up and said, La ilaha illallah, I'm one of the ones that's going to go to Jannah. So, when you're giving a dawah, man, you're going to have to exercise. I mean, you're going to have to really point these things out, man. You're going to have to point these things out. You're going to have to do what it takes, man, to change your conditions. You're going to have to start choosing guidance and obedience to Allah Azza wa Jal. You can't continue to choose misguidance and error and disobedience to Allah Azza wa Jal and think you're going to be fine. So you're going to have to stress those things, man, during khutbahs. Some people probably going to feel some type of way, but the ones who going to feel some way, they just going to feel some way. Be more concerned with the people who it might grab. It might be 50 people that feel some type of way, and it might change the heart of one person. And if it changed the heart of one person, that's alhamdulillah, because now instead of 51 people being on something, it's just 50. Keep making dua, right? Keep being that good companion. That's like, you know what I'm saying? Keep being that good companion. And keep giving them the word, man. Giving them the deen the right way. The right way. So let me wrap it up, man, and look at these type of individuals, man, that the Rasul was around. So when you look at this and understand these are the type of people that the Rasul was around, then you could look toward his sunnah, and you could look at the hadith, and you could look at the tafsirs and see how he dealt with these type of people. And see, before I do that, let me say something about the tafsirs, because again, some people can't grasp it. But you have people who read the Quran, and then they'll say, this ayat means this. And they explain it. This is a new Muslim, Allah say in the Quran, da-da-da-da-da. That's them giving their tafsir. But if the Prophet Muhammad is recorded where the Prophet Muhammad explained that ayat, they'll tell people you got to reject that. We don't do tafsirs, but at the same time trying to give tafsir from themselves. What make you more knowledgeable than Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? What make you more knowledgeable than the people who he learned from directly? It's kind of what make you more knowledgeable than the scholars and the people who sit in classrooms, and a lot of these individuals don't even know the Arabic alphabet, let alone some Arabic. That shaitan playing with people's head. You would give tafsirs from yourself, and then tell people don't deal with the tafsirs that come from the Rasul and the people that the Rasul taught. That shaitan playing with people's head, man. But look at what Allah says to the Rasul. Starting in Surah 33. Right? One of my favorite surahs, man. There's so much hikmah in this. So it starts off, well, Allah Azza wa Jal tell the Rasul as a command, always be mindful of Allah. Always have taqwa of Allah, right? And do not yield to the disbelievers nor the hypocrites. Don't start to be on what they on. Don't stop spreading the good word because you have disbelievers and hypocrites around you, and you worried about what they gonna say. You worried about what they might try to do. Don't yield to them. Right? Indeed, Allah is all-knowing and all-wise. Allah knows what's going on, and Allah has the wisdom and understanding of the situation better than anything. Don't nothing know better than Allah. Nothing has more wisdom than Allah. Right? Follow what has been revealed to you from your Lord. Stick to the Quran and the Hikmah. Surely Allah is all aware of what everybody do. And then put your trust in Allah. for Allah is sufficient as a trustee of all affairs. Okay? So when it say for the brother where I'm still advising, where it's saying follow what has been revealed to you, what's in the Quran and the Hikmah, what Allah says He sent down, then you have to understand. If these individuals is choosing misguidance and choosing disobedience over guidance and obedience to Allah Azza wa Jal, who can change their condition other than Allah? Nobody can guide them. So make dua for them, seek assistance through patience and prayer, like the Quran says. Because this is the advice that's been given to the Rasul. Don't fall in and hit that slippery slope, because you know that these people around you, and I'm going to be careful because we don't want to just label people hypocrites and, for people whose ears is delicate to real information. Right? And then put your trust in Allah when it comes to dealing with these type of situations, man. Right? So that's ayat number 1 through 3. And look at them. Look at the tafsirs on it. Look at several different tafsirs on them. And if you're able to get into the hadiths, which, you're a strong student, so go read, look at some of the hadiths. Look at some of the stories from the Salaf. Look at some of the biographies. But look at how the Rasul had to deal with them first. So this is what Allah is telling them, setting the tone for this surah. Then when you come to ayat number 12, and Allah Azza wa Jal says, and remember when the hypocrites and those with disease in their hearts, 2 categories, hypocrites, and then Muslims who may not be a hypocrite, but they got some disease in their heart. So we know that Allah says those Muslims who have disease in their heart and they start trying to interpret the Quran and they take the verses that's not so necessarily clear, and then they twist it and do this and that, Allah is going to increase that disease in them. Okay? So they only going to get worse. So the hypocrites and the Muslims who have sickness in their heart. So these is 2 categories of people that's around the Rasul. Hypocrites and people with disease in their hearts. And they said, Allah and His Messenger have promised us nothing but delusion. So they said Allah and His Messenger ain't promised us nothing but delusion. Some people had that mindset. That's why they don't chase Jannah. That's why they don't chase good in this life. They feel like they could do it. Don't believe all that. The angels around, this and that. That stuff is delusion. But they just not saying it the same way as them. Some people have some disease in their heart, Yani. You dealing with individuals that have some disease, some sickness in their heart, and they're not choosing guidance. Slippery slope. How did the Rasul deal with it, right? So look, and then remember when a group of them said, "O people of Yathrib, there is no point in you staying here, so retreat." So now they trying to cause some confusion. Now they trying to cause some corruption. Now they trying to stop some good from being done. Right? And another group of them asked the Prophet permission to leave, saying our homes is vulnerable. But see, they all on some foolishness. One, Some of them trying to set the Rasul up for failure. Look what it says. While in fact, they were not vulnerable. Allah's putting the Rasul on game. You got hypocrites and people with sickness, disease in their heart around you, brother. Some of them trying to tell the people to leave before the war. There's no point in us staying here. Let's get up out of here before the war jump off. Before something happen to us. Oh, Rasul, we need to go home. Somebody might attack our home. Somebody might come do something to our wives and our children. When in fact, Allah saying, in fact, their homes wasn't vulnerable. Wasn't nothing finna go on in their home. And when you know the situations, when you know the tafsirs and you know the hadith, and you know who these people was, some of their plot was, while these people are away at war who got businesses, we can go home and make money while they fighting, and some of them might get killed. And then if they get killed, we could take over their business. You understand? We could go home and make all the money while they gone. Muslims around the Rasul. So look what it says. They only wish to flee. They heart pumping Kool-Aid, man. Had their cities been sacked from all sides and they had been asked to abandon faith, look what Allah telling the Rasul. Had their cities been sacked from all sides and they had been asked to abandon faith, give up your Islam, backslide, put your deen on the back burner for some shillings, for a few dollars to be in the in crowd, they would have done it with very little hesitation. Allah is telling him, these people who with you, them ones that came to talk to you, the ones who up to no good, the ones who scheming, the hypocrites and the ones with the disease in their heart, who trying to get the people to leave and don't stick around to fight, trying to get rid of some of the army, then asking to leave so that they could go try to get money, plotting and scheming. Allah told the Rasul, had their cities been sacked from all sides and they had been asked to abandon their faith, play with their deen, give some of your deen up, they would have done it with little to no hesitation. Because they got disease in their heart. And some of them worse than that because they flat out hypocrites, man. Brother, this is the type of Muslim we deal. These is Muslims who talking to the Rasul. They live around the Rasul. Some of them knew the Rasul before he became a prophet. And look what the type of Muslims he got to deal with. And then look what else to say. These same Muslims had already pledged to Allah earlier never to turn their backs, never to backslide on the deen, or to retreat and leave you hanging. Rasul, we got your back. Now y'all want to leave before the funk jump. Look what else it says. And a pledge to Allah must be answered for. They gotta pay. So, O Prophet, flee, tell them, Rasul, tell them, fleeing will not benefit you if you try to escape a natural or violent death. Y'all can't run from Allah. Y'all can't run from if Allah wants something done to you. If it's not your time, you will only be allowed enjoyment for a little while. Allah is telling the Rasul, tell them I said this. Now imagine when these ayats came down and to see Allah is exposing them for all the Muslims to see in the Quran, and then exposing them to where we can learn from them. See, like I said in the beginning, man, Allah was putting the Rasul up on so much game, man. The Rasul, he was human like us. He probably could have thought some of these Muslims, man, was some of the best Muslims ever. And then you have individuals who sitting around talking about what Wahi and the Hadith ain't this and this and that. When the Rasul and them talked about this situation and explained these circumstances, Allah putting him on game, telling him what to say. And when the Rasul say what he said to him and break down the situations and it's recorded in Hadith, how come that's not why? When you looking at the explanation and the Rasul is explaining it all, the explanation to go with the tafsirs, how come that's not why? When Allah is telling him to say it. But look what else it says. And then, O Prophet, who can put you out of Allah's reach if Allah intends to harm you or show mercy? This is what Allah is telling the Rasul to say. They can never find any protector or helper besides Allah. Then Allah caps it with that to the Rasul. There's nobody that can keep me off of them. Then it says, look at this right here. Allah knows well those among you who discourages others from fighting. Trying to break up the army, see? Trying to set the Rasul up for failure. When Allah knows who they are, saying secretly to their brothers, stay with us, and who themselves hardly would take part in fight. If the funk jump, they only gonna fight just a little bit, just enough to get up out of there. Not really trying to win, not really trying to get busy and put a stop to the attacks of the disbelievers, of the kuffar. They barely even fight. They barely even lift a finger. This is what Allah is telling the Rasul. When they telling their brothers, hey man, stay with us. But the people who they telling to stay with us, man, they want to barely lift a finger anyway. Look what it says. They are totally unwilling to assist you. Huh? They are totally unwilling to assist you. Rasulullah. They don't even want to help you. In nothing. Yeah. If the Rasul had to deal with Muslims that had this type of mentality, and yes, this is Muslims. What's their conditions? Back to the beginning. They either a hypocrite or they got some disease and some sickness in their heart. And Allah is exposing this. Look what it says though. Right? When danger comes, you see them staring at you with their eyes rolling like someone in the throes of death. When the danger comes, they looking at you, man, rolling their eyes. Like heart pumping straight Kool-Aid, like they about to die. I need to get up out of here. I got other things going on. Look what it say though. But look what it say. But once the danger is over, they slash you with razor sharp tongues. They talk crazy about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They talk crazy about the deen and what went on and the circumstances. But people who don't deal with tafsirs and don't deal with hadiths, they not fully aware of these conversations. They don't have the full picture. Look what else it say though. They slash you with razor sharp tongues, ravenous. They ravenous for worldly gains. See, they want y'all to fight and put y'all life on the line so you could bring back the war booty, and then they get the war booty. Or some of the people who were from the Kuffar fought you and they had the same business as them, and then they got killed in the battle. The Kuffar got killed in the battle. Now they can go get some of their business. All they concerned with is dunya. Some of these brothers, all they concerned with is worldly gains. Being Muslim is part of the new street coolness. Like I said in the video, man, a year ago. When you moving around in certain places, man, being Muslim, man, this stuff is like the streets, man. Look what else it say. Such people, they never truly believed, so Allah has rendered their deeds fruitless. Allah has voided out all their deeds. And it's easy for Allah to do that. Allah didn't say because they don't have any deeds, they don't have anything that count, we gonna give them Jannah anyway, like this brother said. Like the brother said in the video, like these people who think because they took their shahada, they automatically get in the Jannah and they not gonna touch no fire. Possibly like some of them brothers at that masjid that they hoping you could turn around, brother. Same condition. Dig in your tafsirs, look at your hadiths, man, and see how did the Rasul deal with these individuals. Some of them got boycotted. Some of them had to get boycotted. Right? Then it says the hypocrites' paranoia, right? They still think that the enemy alliance has not yet withdrawn. And if the allies were to come again, the hypocrites would wish to be away in a desert among nomadic Arabs, only asking for news about the believers. They're going to wish to go duck and hide. They're going to tuck their tails. They don't even want to hear nothing about the war. They just want to ask questions. Hey man, did such and such live? How did such and such do? Right? And if the hypocrites were in your midst, they would hardly take part in the fight. See, sometimes you have individuals like this, they'll be around you, man, then they have 1,000,001 plans. But they don't want to put no work in here. Man, we could do this for the Muslims, man. We could get all the sisters and get all the brothers. But when it comes time to get on that battlefield and start to do this for the brothers and start to do this for the sisters, they won't play the background, see? These people, man, you got to pay attention to your community, and you're going to have to be honest with yourself. You're not judging. You could judge what's apparent. You're not putting a hukum on nobody. But guess what, though? If they meet a particular criteria, it ain't nothing you can do, man. They choosing God and misguidance. You can't fix them. If Allah tells the Rasul, you can't guide people because you love them. Guidance comes from Allah. Seek assistance through patience and prayer, brother. You're going to have sabr, and you're going to have to make a lot of dua for them. Because they don't even know to make dua for themselves, man. This is the new This is the new Muslim, man. This the new Muslim, man. This the new Muslim. So, just to give you some little foundation, and some people, man, I sit up and look at some people, man, read the Quran, man, and read these ayats, and these exact same ones, man, they don't even know what it's talking about, man. They read something like that and be like, man, Allah said we all supposed to be Shaka Zulu warriors. Like, okay. Alright, Shaka Zulu. Hey, man, they're going to have to start to change the condition of themselves, man. So, good dawah, good clean dawah, right? Speech and actions, man. Be that oil salesman, man. Where some of your good can rub off on them, man, inshallah ta'ala. You understand? Because this is going to spread, man. Especially, it's going to spread like wildfire because of social media. See, it was a point in time where this stuff really wouldn't leave its little bit of area. Unless a couple of people traveled or some of these people ended up in prison together and they instilled some of their foolishness on each other, like in a federal penitentiary, like no knock, and I'm just saying this, you got a foolish Muslim from California, then you got a foolish Muslim from Denver, Colorado, then you got a foolish Muslim from somewhere in the East Coast, but he has a lot of good Islamic terminology. Kitab Tawheed, Kitab Tawheed. Aqidah, Aqidah, Aqidah. He got a lot of good terminology. But he in the penitentiary with 75 years plus life for a murder, rape, kidnapping, drug-fueled night on the town he don't remember. While he was a Muslim who studied Kitab Tawheed and Aqidah from the students. And now they all in the federal penitentiary, but and they all from different areas, but now all them locked up in Illinois, California, Denver, and somewhere in the East Coast. Philly, Jersey, you pick a place. And then now all they foolishness rub off on each other. And then they leave and go back. They get out and go back to their respective cities. Now he got some terminology with his gang banging. And so it might have spread a little bit like that. But now, all they got to do is just go live and go viral. If you would have seen the people on that comment and some of the people in the masjid, brother, where you had to deal with, because of course we chop it up, I know where you are. Some of your people, man, influenced by these people. You know, and I went to go see my mom a couple of days ago, right? Saturday. And she was talking to me about her church. And how they bought this big building that they couldn't afford. You know, basically a preacher man came out here from Chicago, convinced them to get this big church, this big old raggedy building, and then he died. But the point is, she was saying how they can't really afford to keep it up and get it fixed. And she was saying how, because they was having a 97th year anniversary that Saturday. So she was going to their 97th year anniversary, right? So she was saying how everybody was old and there wasn't really no young people at their church. And they really didn't have the type of money and stuff to keep everything up, right? So, you know, I was seeing how with the masjids, you starting to have an influx of young people coming in. But you have older people who don't know how to take them young brothers' energy and build. They don't know how to take these young people energy and build. So the young people is in and out, you know. And by me looking at that, I'm saying, man, you know, right now you have some older black masjids that's, because they can't keep no youth in there, and they got a lot of older people, and the masjid is just folding. That's here. That's how these brothers, man, they got old, and they let the foreigners take their stuff from them, man, because they couldn't handle it, and they didn't know how to refocus the energy of the young people that was coming in. They couldn't set them up to become teachers. They couldn't set them up to become imams. You know, you got, I'm going to tell you something. I know some African Americans, man, that's here, that was around when they was having little Talines and this and that, but they've been in the fold with these brothers for 20-some years. And they, after 20-some years of going to Jumar and sitting around with some of the best people from the Wharf Dean community, and we could say it's like 15 of them, and they still around. Out of the whole 15 of them, can't not one person give a khutbah. So they never set them up for success. Even some of the ones who have been Muslim since they were 70s, and since the 70s, I mean, that became Wharf Dean when Elijah Muhammad's son changed the name from the nation. And I sit around, man, and see some of them brothers, man, in their 70s and 80s, and they can't even give a khutbah, man. And I'm going to say something, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. Some of them still can't even lead anybody in salat, man. So they never set anybody up for success. Didn't even know how. Couldn't teach a class. So, brother, man, whichever one of them young brothers, man, start trying to refocus their energy, man. And to want to get them to build, to want to get them to study, you know, because they the future, man. They the future, man. And you only gonna be able to give guidance to the ones that choose it, man. Because if they choose misguidance, man, Allah gonna leave them on the path that they chose until He burn them in hell. And we know that why? Because He said, Allah informs us of that in the Quran, man. Dua, seek assistance through patience and prayer, and keep giving good dawah, man. Be what you want to see, brother. Be that good companionship, man. But you got to be careful, man, because, you know, you just going to have to be careful, man. But, you know, we going to chop it up, man, and, you know, keep me posted, man. And we'll try to figure out something, man. Some type of curriculum, some type of class. Try to put something together, man, and see who attention you can, you know, see who rise to the top. You know what I'm saying? What they call it, man, the creme de la creme. Start to see who rise to the top, man. And if don't nobody rise to the top, you just gonna have to shine on your own, man. Anyway, man, this got too long, man. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.